Purim, Tafshin Pei Gimel. Should this share be that we're trying to toil? No one has much time, and I appreciate everyone to try to come and learn a few things before Purim. And I'm not going to deceive you. We are going to dive in with no Rahmanus. We're going to go really deep into the inyan of Purim. Let's go with the psukim, understand first what is the source of this name. Let's go share screen, right? The pasuk says, Ki Haman ben Hamedasa ha'agagi. Haman, the son of Hamedasa ha'agagi from Agag. Agag was the melech of Amalek at the time of Shaul. And Shaul failed to kill him, and Shmuel HaNavi killed him. Soirer kol ha-Yehudi. Soirer means he was harsh, made him suffer. All the Jews, not partially, not the one only in Madayo Paras. No, all the Jews. And we're going to see something starting to be strange here in the pasuk. Chashav hala Yehudim. He thought, oh, he didn't do anything, no? No, he didn't send letters, right? You heard about sending letters? No, he only thought about it. He didn't take any action. So what is the pasuk saying? Chashav, he thought. Le'abdam, to finish them up, to make them disappear. Vehi pil por. And in return, the poor, I don't know what the poor is. So the pasuk is going to tell me, who ha-goyra? It's the goyra. Which one? You know it, right? No, I don't know it, but you know it. The goyra, the only one. So which goyra? I know quite a few, but which one are you talking about here? You know? So Purim, the pasuk is going to say afterward, Al ken karu layamim ha'ele Purim. Al Shem Hapur, on the name of the poor. So why do you give me difficult words and extend the language in the pasuk? If its name is a goyra, call it a goyra. And if its name is poor, so call Purim poor. Why plural? Poor means one. Purim means at least two. But he only did one goyra. So why do you call Purim in plural? Should have so called in the singular if it's called after the poor. I'm going back to my pasuk here, okay, because I skipped to the third one. So Vehipil Pur, this is the base of the name of Purim, because Haman did something. Now, we're not going to call it on the fact that they received the Torah better than on Har Sinai. They're not going to call it because they're going to smash the Nachash, we're going to see, worse than Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov did it. No, this is nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved them on the very day they're supposed to die. They kill their enemies. No, we're not going to call it on this. That's nothing. We're going to call it on what? On Haman doing a goyra. What's so important about the goyra? Then after that, it's going to be Whoever can translate this, be my guest. Ubevoya lifnei hamelech. And when she came, I'm going to help you. When she came before the king, you know that every time it says melech in the pasuk, in the Megillah, we're not referring to Achashverosh, we're referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When he says Hamelech Achashverosh, sometimes it's Achashverosh, sometimes Arizal. There's the klal. Whenever there's something bad behind it, we're talking about the king Achashverosh. Whenever otherwise, it's Acharis and Reishis. But let's not go there. Here, Hamelech by itself, it's always Hashem in the Megillah. So Ubevoya, when she came, who are we talking about? Lifnei Hamelech, before the king. Esther never went before the king. So who is she? Omar, he said, Im HaSefer, with the Sefer. No, about the Sefer. Im, with, which Sefer? Are you talking about the Megillah? Are you talking about the letter Haman wrote? And then we're going to call it Ha'igeres, the letter? And then we're going to call it Megillah? What's going on here with these names that we can have one name for Megillas Esther, like we call it? No, in the Pasuk, you're going to have a game here. Sefer, Igeres, Megillah. Okay. And now here we go back. So he says, with the Sefer, so the Sefer is going to do something to return his bad thoughts that he thought on the Jews. What about the deeds he did? Can we return those also with the Sefer, or it's only about the Machshava? And they will return on his head. And that's the reason him and his children were hanged on the tree. Which tree? Well, you don't know that? The tree. I don't know which tree refers. This psukim here explaining the root, the reason why it's called Purim are very enigmatic. They're talking in a sense that really we cannot explain them with simple translation. So if we cannot with simple translation, we're going to use the hammer and hammerjack, what's happening here. So let me go here first. I'm going to close this. Okay. Stop sharing. Let's try to understand a little bit what's going on. Forget about the questions. We understand that those questions are big questions, but we haven't even started climbing right now. Midrash says in Parshas Kisisa. So next Shabbos Parsha, Midrash, Peledika Midrash. He says, a good name is more important. It's a pasuk in Mishlei. Nivchar Shem me'oisherav. A good name is more important than wealth. How do we know that? Look at Mordechai and look at Haman. Someone with a good name at the end was rewarded with everything, even with wealth. Haman, who had wealth, ended up where? On the gallows. Hanged, period, dead, but not only him and his 10 children. Interesting, Haman had, Midrash brings hundreds of children. 10 died. Just 10. Why 10? Midrash keeps on saying, Chen is more important than wealth. As you can see from Esther Hamalka, that she had chen and she survived, and she not only survived, she was rewarded with all the brachas, with everything, while Haman, who was the wealthy, ended up at the end of the road. Haman said to the Melech, to Achashverosh, Hakesef nasun lach, the money to beat those Jews. So what did he do, Haman? He calculated exactly how many shkalim the Bnei Israel had given in the Midbar. Those shkalim you want to talk about, not the other shkalim. No, those in the Midbar. Fine. And he came out with a number to 10,000. He said, so I am going to take those 10,000 shkalim and give them to the king to go kill the Bnei Israel. How did he want to do that? And how this, his whole machshava, his whole plan is terrible. But we're going to understand everything. And Haman is going to be standing here and say, that's exactly what I had in the head. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he saw Haman doing this, he's saying, you're taking two things of mine and you trade them together. Kili Bnei Israel avadim. Bnei Israel, since Har Sinai, that's it. We are the servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and only Hashem, not any other human on earth. On the other hand, Hakesef li Hakesef azav Amar Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says the money in the world, everything belongs to him. He only gives it to some people to safeguard. They're not smart how they made money. They don't know how to make money. People think, I'm smart, I invested, I did that. You didn't do nothing. You did an ishtadlus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the money there because everything belongs to Hashem at the end of the day, and he put it in your hand to test you. That's all. With this, we start looking at the pasuk where it says in Parashas Truma that when they gave the shkalim, it says "V'yikhuli," take from me. And we asked the question during the shir on Parashas Truma, what does it mean take? It should be a nicer language. Give. Please give because it's your money. No, it's Hashem's money. So it's written "V'yikhu, tikhu, tikhu." 3 times it speaks about 3 trumas. V'yikhu li teruma. Tikhu et terumasi, tikhu teruma. So 3 times it's the verb to take is repeated. Is that any relation, any connotation to the shekel of Haman? The Yerushalmi in Megillah says HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the Bnei Israel to give the shkalim in the Midbar in order to precede the shkalim that Haman is going to give in order to destroy them. Had the Jews not given the machzis shekel in the Midbar, the shkalim of Haman would have destroyed them. What power does the Haman in his money? What kind of language is that in the Yerushalmi? Because Haman paid money for the Jews, we have to be sold to him? What kind of magic there is in here? The Ariyah Kodesh says in Priyetz Chaim, in Purim, Perek Hey, he said Haman was a tremendous sorcerer. His wife was even bigger sorcerers, and his 10 children was the 10 spheres of the Tumah. So Haman has done something to his money in order for us to be sold to Achashverosh. Really interesting story. What has he done? In the Bible, in Megillah, Yud Gimel Amud Beis, Omar Resh Lakish said the same thing that the Yerushalmi, that the in the Midbar specifically, the shkalim preceded the shkalim of Haman. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked at that time Dafka to give shkalim. The Netziv explains simple reason. He said, in the Mishkan, it was a small place. They were in the Midbar. You know, even though they had animals, but the purpose there was not to bring too many korbanos. The only korbanos that were brought at that time, they were such a high level that the Ardea was for the Leviim used to bring on the Mizbeach korbanos. They didn't need korbanos to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They were all the time close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that generation. So they didn't need the korban, because the korban works on the lower part of the soul, the nefesh. Shekel equals 430. Nefesh equals 430. When you give a shekel to tzedakah, you basically redeeming your nefesh. So the redeeming has been done for not because they had sinned at that time, but because Haman wanted to do something with his shkalim, and we had to redeem them from the shkalim. Very good. Do you remember in Parashas Ekev, we gave a share, it was in Parashas Kiseitze, and on the animals, and we explained what the Ari HaKadosh said. I'm going to brush this pretty fast because we went over it a few times, that why is the reason that we do the shechita on the throat. And I have to bring this up because when someone is hanged by the throat. So we're going to understand Purim through that. So the Ari HaKadosh said, because there is always a gilgul in the animal. No animal come to be kosher just like this. Everything is done meticulously calculated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that there is a gilgul, and when the shoichet is going to shechti, the gilgul will be freed, and he will go into the person that's going to eat that meat. And then he can, so he was in an animal, so he gets into human, and this human will help him totally redeem himself and go back to his place. He finished his troubles in this world of Gilgul. So the last result is going into a kosher animal and being shechted. So he said, because Garain equals 258, 3 times 258, which is 3 times the value of Elohim. Elohim 3 times is the base din that decides that person is not capable of going into Gan Eden and not into Gehinnom yet. He has to go into Gilgul. And once we shed, we mean the din is over. And the reason that's why it's called Hashchita, because Hashchita equals 337, equals 3 times Hashem Elohim. So on every Elohim, we put the Rachamim. Rachamim, 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 meaning the din is over. The din didn't disappear. The Elohim is still there. But it's Hashchita. You know what's amazing? Purim equals Hashchita. With the Koilel, because 336. Hashchita is 337. But that equals Purim equals 336. In other words, there is a Shchita here. There is a redeeming from the dinim on Purim. I will leave Purim every year. Yeah, so you can redeem yourself from whatever dinim were attached to you, because there's no higher day in the year than Purim. The light that shine, and we're gonna explain it on Purim, belittles the light that shines on the night of the Seder. Just to tell you the level of the lights of Purim. And they're gonna light and they're gonna shine the whole day of Purim. When? During the Megillah, especially the Megillah. Megale. I'm gonna read it a different way. Instead of writing the vowels Megillah, I'm gonna write Megale, revealing. The same way Hashem has revealed himself on Har Sinai before giving the Torah to the Yidden, The same way here, when they say kimu vekiblu hayhudim, they're going to be mekabel the Torah. There is a gilui, but higher than what our ancestors had in Har Sinai. We're going to see which light will shine on Purim. However, what I don't like is on Purim, you have Hashem Elohim 3 times, meaning the dinim. Okay, yes, there's the Yudke Vavke that's going to take the dinim and quiet them down for now, but they're still here, the dinim. Supposedly, with such a light, usually all the klippos and all the dinim run away. Why don't they run away on Purim? Why are they being kept? It's like a shchita. There's still steps to go in order to achieve our goal and to arrive to a level that we want to have. We had a question, and this is going to be a tremendous yesod in the whole year, all your life, and all the shiurim, especially on my style of shiurim. This is going to transcend everything we always say. We asked the question before, what is choshav ala Yehudim? I'm going to go back to it. The pasuk seems to say, Haman is not such a bad guy. He only thought. You know, he had thoughts, bad thoughts about the Jews, no actions. Choshav al ha-Yehudim, choshav al ha-Yehudim. Machshavtoi hara, his bad thoughts. What it means here that the pasuk rubs in the fact that he was thinking all the time. The Indian is like this. I don't really want to write every time because if I have to write, it takes me long and I have to give you a lot of data here. But just on the start, so we see where Haman is. This is equal to 490. This is equal to some the Yetzer Hara and Nachash, his wife. Here the bodies, they're here. Haman brings them down through machshava. Why? Because actions, remember, and we spoke about it last year, actions can only access the 7 of the last spheres. The last 7 attributes you can access with good actions, and it's not easy. However, when you start putting an insight in your doings, you're attaching your mind, you're going to the Keser Chachma Bina. You're in a different world. You're in Atzilus. Malachim don't go there. Human can go there. When you said the Ktoires and you said it with your machshava, Haman was only able to access these reshaim of the Yetzer Hara and his wife, the Lili, the Malacha Maves. She's the one who kills people only through thoughts. His actions are only a consequence. They're very minor compared to this, because these actions, how much can a human do? But since he put thoughts in it, now he brought the real killers in the game. And then now we see the danger. We're not Bnei Israel, we're not taken hostage by just a stupid minister and a Russia of a king. No, we're talking about evil forces came down there. And were involved there. And this was the true dangers that Yidden had at that time. That's what he says, Choshav, the Machshava is tremendous. But Mordechai, you're going to see, it's going to counterbalance everything here. Mordechai and Esther, it's not by chance that they have been there. Because Haman, as you can see from here, brought the Nachash, the two Nachash in him. And actually it's written in the Riyah Kodesh, in the Kavanos on Purim, that Mordechai is the Gilgul of Yaakov Avinu, who was the Gilgul of Adam Arishon, meaning Mordechai represented Adam Arishon. And Esther is the Gilgul of Chava. In the Gurari, he brings this down. The Ramaz brings this down also. We have here the three proponents, the three actors from Bereshis. Why? Because Haman tapped on three sins the Bnei Israel made. I'm not going to go on here. I just want to tell you the three sins which they are. The food, because they went to Hene, they went to Achashverosh feast and they ate. Oh, when he saw that, he was so happy. Because what was the sin there? Eating non-kosher? Okay. But it says the Mordechai was a mashgiach there to make sure that the Yidden were only eating kosher. And it says, Kirtzain ish va'ish. If these guys were eating fish, they had the fish, the same fish from his country. That was the greatness of that feast. So they did not have non-kosher food. They did not drink non-kosher wine. They drank kosher wine. However, they benefited from they drank in the cases of the Beis Hamikdash. It's a different parsha, this. But I just want to say that they did not lose their Judaism by going there. You know, it's like going to a stand. I don't know if the Yankees have that. I don't know what's the Yankees, which kind of team is that? Is that basketball maybe? So whatever it is. And you have a cautious stand there. Okay, here at least you pay for your own food. Here it was a Achashverosh that paid for the food. And because of that, he was able to unveil a plan with the evil forces, as we're going to see, which was tremendous. Tremendous. To make it the day, the biggest nace in Jewish history. I'm sorry. A few Jews ate there, fine. Does it mean all the Jews have to be having a sword on their neck? This is the power of Haman. To tell you, it's not a reward from HaKadosh Baruch Hu here on the Oynesh. It's Haman of his own doing will do sorcery here in order to bring the evil forces and to be done once and for all. He says, my grandfather or my great-grandfather didn't know how to do it. Amalek, I will do it. Fine. When Mordechai learns about it, he says a very strange pasuk. The proof that he went to the origin. The Gemara says, where do we learn Haman from the Torah? And the Gemara answers Hamin Ha'et. So everyone understand Hamin, it's the letters Haman. No, here to tell you Hamin Ha'et. Asher tzivisicha alech levilti achal mimenu. I told you not to eat from it. Ha'et, the Eitz Hadas. V'salu oisu ve'esbanov al ha'et. Eitz Hadas. What do you mean they hanged him on the Eitz Hadas? We'd explain. But here you can see Haman being able to tap in the Eitz Hadas. The second thing he tapped in was the Mechiras Yosef, that they sold Yosef. And this is going to be in Parshas Kisisa in the Shir, you know, the 3 Kofer Nefesh, because 1 first shekel was for the Adonim, the bases, as we learn in Parshas Truma from Rashi, for the base of the poles that holds together the Mishkan to make it one. You're going to see how important these words I just said for us to understand how we beat Haman. Even today we can beat Haman. Because the first shekel was, as when they ate from the fruit, they made a pirud. They made a separation in the name Chaz v'Shalom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Adanim, the bases, were holding together the poles, always two poles together in one Adam. So the second scene was Mechiras Yosef, and the third scene was the Egel. He took the three of them because they went and ate and benefited from Achashverosh. This is what the power he brought, the three dinim, 3 times Eloikim. Now you understand what it Goran, what they had to be killed by the sword. Because he brought the 3 dinim on them. And Purim is Hashem Eloikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you want to bring Eloikim on the Bnei Israel, but you want to benefit afterward from Hashem, as we're going to see. Meaning, he wanted to go all the way up and get all the lights and all the shefa and the brachas for himself. Hashem said, no, it's going to be the opposite. The Elohim is going to be on you, and the Hashem is going to be on the Bnei Israel. This is the combination of Purim, meaning that Arur Haman and Baruch Mordechai, you cannot dissociate them. That's why our Baruch Mordechai equals 502, and Arur Haman equals 502. Cannot be dissociated. These are part. The Oynesh of Haman and the Bracha of Mordechai go in sync together. But now Mordechai, so we see Haman had a whole plan at the end of the day. But Mordechai says to Esther, you were the one at the time of the fruit that fed me. Now we turn the table. I'm going to push you to do the mitzvah and to do the tikkun. So, because Haman came, Mordechai knew Haman came with the sin, the original sin. And he says, now you have to repair it. It's your chance. Ki imacharesh tacharishi, because if you remain quiet, ba'eis hazois, in this time, there's a lot of sayings here. Revach vehatzala, the Bnei Israel will, no matter what, will have a geula. Ya'amoid la Yehudi mimakim acher, will come to the Jews from a different place. Ve'at, and you, ubei savich, and the house of your father, tevedu, you'll be lost. Umi yoideya, and who knows? Im le'eis kazoi sigat la malchus. That's the reason you became a queen. Sorry, Esther was a yesoima. How can you lose someone that's lost already? What do you mix up her father? He's already dead. He can't die again. Toiveidu. Here, there's a tremendous side. If we take this, Revach vehatzala ya'amoy la Yehudi mimakai macher. Mordechai has a gun with one bullet. That bullet is called Esther. That's the only way he can save the Jews. He's going to blow it off. You know what he says? Boom! That bullet cannot save nothing. Hashem will save it. It's not the bullet. And he's not afraid to put a deal to Esther. This equals 1020. This equals Hashgacha Pratis. All right, open your microphone and tell me how to translate this in English, please. It's the HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Meant to be, sort of?
No. Ashgacha Pratis is, someone goes on Google Translate or on ChatGPT and gives me a translation, proper translation, please.
Not coincidental.
What?
Like not coincidental.
Macro incidental?
No, it's not coincidental.
I can't hear.
It's not by chance.
Not by chance. So it means HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking care of his world in the minimal details. There's no chances. There's no occurrence. There's no I do, you do, he does. Only Hashem does. The doer is only Hashem. Hashgacha pratis. You know what this equals to? 10 times emunah. Once someone has emunah fully in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the 10 levels, in the 10 spheres, the 10 attributes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu deals with him with Hashgacha pratis. He can see the motions, the history being made by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in every movement, in everything. His eyes, the eyes of his mind transcends the actions and what happens in the world, and he sees the doing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in all this. And this is what Mordechai tells her. Don't you think you're the only possibility? Because there is another one. Revach vehatzala yamoy la Yehudim, I don't remember. 585, I think it is. Yes, 585. It says, look, at the time when Paro wanted to kill the baby before they're born, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent Shifra, the mother of Moshe Rabbeinu, to save the children. She was the midwife. Mimakay Macher, when the Yevanim decided that every girl that gets married has to go with the Hagmoin, which is the whatever, the chief first, Yehudis went to kill her. 435, Mimakay Macher. It gives her example. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not short of solutions. Every time HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to bring a miracle to the Yidden, he brings it his way and he finds a shaliach. He doesn't need a person to ask favors to anyone. So what's with Beis Avich? He says, remember one thing. Shaul HaMelech is looking down at you. He made one mistake. He left Agag, the great-grandfather of Haman, alive. And because of him, this happens. Now you have the chance to correct his mistake. Do it. Otherwise, this is the time where Haman will be taken out. There's not going to be any more chance to take care of this mistake. That's why it says to Ivedu, you'll be lost forever. There's not going to be redemption anymore on that mistake. I could dig out a little bit longer on the Amalek and connect it, show you that Haman had the power of Amalek upon himself, but I think the time is flying, and I'm not even a quarter where I want to be. Sorry to tell you this. So I'm going to skip this. I just want to keep the first part that the first lesson of Mordechai is a lesson for every day. How do we write Emunah? Emunah like this, okay? Aleph, Mem, Vav. Now I'm going to write it in full. I'm going to open it up to see what it has inside. Aleph, Mem, Vav, Nun, Hey. I'm just spelling every letter. So here you have, I don't remember everything by heart. This equals 334. Look what Emunah does, because I want to see how Kadosh Baruch Hu rewards. So remember, there's always three types of feelings: feeling with Yud, feeling with Aleph, which is second, and feeling with Hayes, which is the third level. Atzilus, Yetzira, Asiyah. Yud, Aleph, Hey. These are the three type of feelings we have for every word. So if you take here Emunah plus, I don't want to write a cross here, so we're talking about the deep things, plus 232, because it's 102, Emunah, plus 232 equals full Emunah. You remember, Jeff, remind me, I have to send you this. Okay, Hagoira, this is the, if we ever get to it. I have to stop keeping everything. You remember those names? Atzilus, Beria, Yetzira, Asiya. You remember Yudke, Vavke, 72. Yudke with a Vav, 63. Yudke, Vavke, 45. Yudke, Vavke, 52. 72 plus 63 plus 45 plus 52 equals 232. All the names of Hashem come out to help someone who has the level of emunah, of that emunah. This is what Mordechai Tzaddik comes to tell us. Whenever you feel you only have one bullet, this is the test of emunah. Don't panic. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just go for it. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it to happen, no matter what you say to that person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts the right words in your mouth. Let's go for the second one. Aleph, Mem, still the same. Look at this. The Vav is going to change now. I'm going to put it with the Aleph to read Vav. Nun, and Hey also going with the Aleph, because it's written the same way, and you read it the same way. So it has exactly. So it's a emunah, we said, which is a little bit below, and this emunah equals 316. So it's not 334, and this is 47 plus 232. 47, you should know it by heart by now. Whenever the Chochmah and the Bina, the upper communion, and Keye go together, this is flamboyant. Means things are going to happen. When you do the machshava in the tefillin, there's 21 Yudke Vavke, there's Keye Yudke Vavke. You're touching the keser of the king. You're having the crown of the king on your head. Whenever you touch and you have the machshava, you connected not to the 7 below spheres, you connected to the 3. You activate this name. And the 232 equals the full name, the Yud Kevavke of 72, the Yud Kevavke of 63, the Yud Kevavke in full of 45, and the Yud Kevavke in full of. And now if we go and we write it the third way with the Hey, Aleph, Mem. When it's a Hey, then we don't put it in the Vav, because we learned this from the Yud Kevavke. The last one, Yud Kevavke, if you realize, it is written on the Vav, always Vav Vav, never, which is never, and any other letter in the middle. Only when Mashiach will come, the Zohar says we'll put back an Aleph in there. The Keser will come back. Anyway, not for today. Hey, hey. This equals to 319, which is equals to Ani Hashem, plus again 232. Unbelievable. This 232 is everywhere. Whichever level of emunah you have, okay, you're not tapping on the highest source of possible emunah, but don't beat yourself up. Because whenever you have emunah, you have to believe, you have to put it in the 10 spirits, so you have Ashgacha Pratis, you say HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing things for you. Now let's add these three together, because they're three different sorts of emunah. So if you take 334 plus 316 plus 319, you're getting a number which is 969. And this one equals 17 times 57. Now, if I put it in letters, it's Tov time Kel Hashem. What do you say in the Hallel? Kel Hashem Vayaer Lanu Isru Chag Ba'avoisim At Kanois HaMizbeach. We just go, it's the end of the Hallel, we just swallow it. We don't understand in these words. We're tapping into the name of Kel Hashem, which is in Olam HaYetzira. We're in the Asiya, above where the Etz Hadas was, which we need to conclude the Tikkun, is Kel Hashem. And Kel Hashem, every time we tap in, Vayaer Lanu, the light shines. In order to open, we're in the darkness, I don't know what's going on, I don't feel good, I don't have any hunch, I don't have this, I don't have that, because you're not connected to Kel Hashem. How do I connect to Kel Hashem? With the Emunah. And what happens when I'm connected to a Kel Hashem? Vayoel Lanu, there's no more Choshech. Choshech runs away. It's the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that shines there. That's what David HaMelech said in the Pasuk. Kel Hashem vayaer lanu. This is the lesson that Mordechai is giving to Esther, because she said nobody is allowed to go to the king. It could be passible of death. He said, don't worry. He doesn't even decide what he says to and what his actions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge of everything. Even the minute things in this world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one in charge. Then what did she do, Esther? It says in the Pasuk, Vatilba, she heard the lesson and she believed it. Esther, Malchus. All right, jump to the pot. Open your microphone. Can someone translate me that Pasuk? Vatilbash Esther Malchus. Please don't be shy. Try to translate me this. I would like to know what the translation is.
What's Tilbash?
Vatilbash, she wore.
She's wearing royalty.
Yeah, royalty.
Huh?
She's wearing Esther's wearing royalty.
Very good, excellent. But in Hebrew, it should say be, because you're wearing something, so you go into something. The language in Hebrew is very precise. She wore royalty doesn't mean anything. She dressed up with. She dressed with. Look what the Ari HaKadosh says. And if someone has any more a doubt about this, the way we learn it, we learn things, I think I'm going to wipe them out with the learning of the Ari HaKadosh. Look at this. We're going to open the word Esther. Vatilbash Esther Malchus. There's a mistake in grammar in Hebrew here. Obviously, the Pasuk wants to give us a hint. We're going to open up Esther in full. we're going to call the letters Aleph, Samech, Tav, Resh, right? We're going to remove the name Esther from it. I'm going to take it off. Samech, Tav, Resh. I'm going to take just the inside to know what's inside. 496. The Midrash says the Shechina was always with Esther. Where was the Shechina? Inside her, inside the letter. And now she took it outside. She was scared. She said, I can't go with the Shechina inside me anymore. I need to go with the Shechina outside me to protect me from the Melech. Now, however, if we take back, okay, let's go short way. Esther in full. Samech, we said. Tav. And this one is Resh. Now, if I want to know what was the power of Esther with the Shechina, this equals 1,158. You remember it says in the Pasuk, we said in Parshas Truma 3 times, it says V'yikhu, the harsh language, Tikhu, there it is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu stressed the Bnei Yisrael to give, even if we had to take from them. As it says in the Sefer HaMitzvos, that you have, Sefer HaChinuch, sorry, it's mandatory to give. It's not here, I'm asking you for a favor. No, you must. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu should take this chus to create Esther HaMalka. When Moshe Rabbeinu told the Bnei Yisrael at the end, Le'einei Kol Yisrael, it was done. The last words he says in the Torah Akdosha before Moshe Rabbeinu, the holy shepherd, that still shepherds the Bnei Yisrael till today, he's the only shepherd we had and the only shepherd we will have, even when Mashiach will come. And he's going to be the one taking us and bringing us to Eretz Yisrael. This equals, so what is he hinting in the last words of the Torah that he's saying, you know, to the eyes of the old Bnei Israel? Yes, you were in front of them, and we know from Azinu already. So what are you hinting? Don't worry, will come a day where you're going to need a miracle. Don't worry, I'm still here. The Midrash said, who was called in Shamayim? When Eliyahu Hanavi heard about the Gzeira of Purim, he went to wake up Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They told him, what have they done? They sinned. They went to Achashverosh. They said, okay, let them pay for the sins. It's impossible. He went to Moshe Rabbeinu. And he cried on his cave and he said, Raya Mehemna, trustworthy shepherd, wake up, your flock is in danger. Moshe Rabbeinu right away jumped out and said, what happened? He told him Moshe Rabbeinu was crying. He said, is there a holy person, a tzaddik in this generation? He says, yes. He says, someone who can have the machshavos and connect? He says, yes. His name is Mordechai HaTzadik. Tell him to go daven, and down there with all the Jews, and I will go daven there with Knesset Yisrael, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to erase the Gzeira. Nothing has happened. That's the first message that Moshe Rabbeinu, Mordechai is teaching us, and you're going to see it's a layer in now, one of the Nisim of Purim was V'nahafoichu. We mentioned before, it was supposed to be the day they die, Chas v'shalom. They've been exterminated, Chas v'shalom. And who's been exterminated instead is all the Amalekim. Amalek's been exterminated. The Pasuk says, on Moshe Rabbeinu, the time we brought Moshe Rabbeinu into the picture, so we have to look, well, with what feature was he able to fight up there against the Sam and the Nachash, the two Nechashim, the two snakes, in order to revert the Gzeira, the three Elohim, and take them out. And in contrary, to return a tremendous light, tremendous reward to the Bnei Israel. Moshe Rabbeinu was the one who gave the Torah on Har Sinai, and it's Moshe Rabbeinu again who's here to give the Torah to the Bnei Israel. Nothing happens by occurrence. The same actors are always here. The Torah tells us one trait of character about Moshe Rabbeinu. Ve'ha'ish Moshe anav me'oid mikol adam. And Moshe is the most humble of all people that have been created and that will be created. Nobody, the Avos, the Rabbi Nassan, if I saw it on Shabbos, I forgot to write it down. It says Shabbos. Says there are 24 sorts, different types of Metzoira. You know, Metzoira, we learned it that it's the one who has a foul mouth and says Lashon Hara and is afflicted with leprosy. And there are 24 levels. And the 24th level, Moshe Rabbeinu, it says in Avos Rabbi Nassan, felt lower than the 24th level. But at the same token, he was a lion. It's going to be in a different shiur. We're going to explain this conflict between Anova. How can you be humble and at the same time confident? It's like with the data we have with the Yevanim here, how they teach us, you cannot understand it. But I will have to rebuild and make you go under the fence. Once you go to the other side of the fence, it will be so obvious to you. How did I not know that? We said, and I'm going to go very briefly on this because I have to explain my pasuk. This is the nes of Purim, v'nahafoichu asher ishletu haYehudim, that the Yidden took control of their enemies. When someone is kovesh as yitzrod, the second midah we're going to see here controls, holds your pulses. The Ari HaKadosh says, whenever someone has an impulse to sin, this should tell him that why do you have an impulse? Because the Satan knows that there you have a job to do and not sin, because you have to gather from there a tremendous sparkle of Kedusha that fell there. And you are the only one, since the world has been created, till Mashiach, that can have access to that sparkle. And you need to bring it up. And the Satan, the Nachash, in order not to let you, tempts you with an impulse to sin. So the impulse of sinning is not a weakness or I should or not. No, it should be right away a reminder that since I have an impulse, mean here, bedavka should not, because there's a tremendous tremendous sparkle. That's why the second midah here in Purim is controlling one's impulses. This equals to 1040 equals to Nachash. Everything Bilam brought to the table to try to curse the Jews. Kesem, which is sorcery. Amal, the witchcraft, all sorts of names they have. Aven. These are all clippers, that and Mirma. You remember that Bilam was unable to curse the Jews? Why? Because at that time, each one of them was a tzaddik and knew what the Riyah Kodesh said. Do you think they were not human? They had no impulses? You're wrong. You're wrong. Chazal says, "En apotropos le'aroyes." If someone tells you, "I'm a tzaddik, I will never sin with a forbidden woman," don't trust him. Don't trust him. Until the Chazal tell us the only guarantee a person has is when he's buried 4 feet in the ground. Otherwise, he's a man. She's a woman. And nobody has a guarantee. So when someone bit by bit learns how to start thinking, I have an impulse to sin. Just somehow saying, I'm not going to show. No. It means today it's important to go to shul. I need to go to shul. And you beat your Satan bit by bit. It's not coming in one point. Anyone who goes to the extreme fast, the metronome that the guys play piano with, bum, bum. The faster he goes to one side, the faster he goes to the other side. It has to be gradual. And you start working with your machshava, you beat him, you beat him, you beat him. After that, even sorcery won't affect you. Now, you remember I asked the question here on the second puzzle. I know I didn't answer the Veipil Por. This is for the end. And by the way, if anyone has to go, please, I'm not going to be offended, chas v'shalom, whatever. I know you have obligations and everything. But this year, I feel one time it should be given with a full-fledged and understand once and for all what Purim is all about. It's not about a carnival. It's not about giving shalach manos to 1 million people. And I'm sorry to say that. Yes, there's a mitzvah to give shalach manos. There's a mitzvah to give a few shalach manos and everything. But there's no, craziness that we made. It's like, oh, I love my oranges. I'm going to make the peel now thick like this, and I'm going to have a tiny bit of fruit inside or no fruit at all. That would be stupid, a guy who grows oranges like this, right? So let's not take the outside and make it important and the inside. And going to the rabbis and the thing, unfortunately, we have lost Purim, and I decided to go. I'm going always against the grain, unfortunately, and I have to speak. And I asked Mechila to the COVID and everything. But the most important thing in Purim is those midas we're going to talk and the work that has to be done behind it, because it takes time. It takes time. We have the Nachash, we have the Amalek, we have Adam, and we have Chava every year, and we have to work. And it's not by being nice and trying to go with the flow that makes it happen. Not true, unfortunately, and I'm going to get it for that again. Unfortunately, that's the way it is, but I am not afraid to open my mouth. And so we said, Ubeboya lifnei hamelech. And when she came before the king, and we said probably Esther Hamalka. So we know that Esther wore the Malchus, and she came before the king. Lifnei hamelech, I told you it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because every time it says Melech, without saying Achashverosh, whatever, it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lifnei HaMelech equals 260. You know the answer already. Equals 10 times. Yud Ke Vav Ke, full-fledged, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, full power. This is, she went before the kings of the king. Okay, what did she do? When the pasuk tell me Bevoya Esther Lifnei HaMelech or Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lifnei whatever, because the pasuk try to tell us a secret here that's hidden in the words. If we take this, Ubevoya Lifnei HaMelech, equals 281. And this is a simple gematria. If I would just replace the numbers by letters, you'd find it. A fair, like Avram Avinu. The midah of I'm ashes. I'm a nothing. She came before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, stating that the midah, now she is the main shepherd. She took the role of Moshe Rabbeinu. And she took the midah of Moshe Rabbeinu. She came with tremendous humility before HaKadosh Baruch Hu to ask for to save the Jews. And we couldn't understand. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Omar Ima Sefer. HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds. But it shouldn't be with Ima Sefer. We said, Control V. Should have said Biglala Sefer, because of the Sefer, what Haman did and whatever. What is this Im HaSefer? Here equals 696. Sorry. You remember we had a pasuk that replaced Kriya Shema, Hashem Oishia, HaMelech Ya'anenu B'Yom Koreinu. HaMelech Ya'anenu B'Yom Koreinu equals 696. What is 396? Is 3 times 232. You remember those 232 we had before? All the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the Emunah. The 3 levels. So the 3 level of Emunah accomplished by Moshe, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 32, 2, 2, 32, 2, 32. And at the end of the day, these are the ones that control the world. And when a miracle needs to be done, is the 232, just to give it to you, because I feel you're going to get lost otherwise. Yud K Vav K 1. Yud K Vav, I write it the difference. Hey, 63. Second. Yud K Vav K. Yud K Vav K. Olam Haberiyah. I see it. So this is 232. This equals to 232. 3 times these name of Hashem are coming out. Oh, what about the other one, the K? Yeah. So we have the Yud K Vav K. So I was asking myself, where is the K? Yeah. Why we don't have it? So Ima Sefer equals 455. There we go for the K. Yeah. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey, number 1. Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. That's for the second. And Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. And the third, this equals to 455. We have them all here. The K, and this equals to, for you to remember, to 232. And we have them all coming and fighting. That's what she wanted. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells her, that all the name of Hashem will come out and punish Haman, but very dearly. And this is what he says, Yoshuv Machshavtoi, because he went to the Yudke, he went to these names. It's a pity I can't prove you this, and I won't have time. I'm way out of time. But Haman, so we have Yud-K, Vav, K. I wanted to make a little space here. Amalek was attacking the Vav K. Haman wanted to attack the Yud-K. He wanted to go above his ancestor. Who's punishing him? The Yud-K. This is considered to be the Yud because these are the name in the Chochmah, and this is the names in the Bina. So this is the Hey, Yud-K. There's even the Shem here, which you won't remember because I gave it into a shir. I can't remember even myself when. In Pashas Toldos, I remember. Pashas Toldos, I gave you that shir about the name in the Das. But it's hinted also in the Pasuk. When I said, Machshavto Yara, how do you return? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu even released the name of the Machshava, because every time you start putting an insight. I'm not going to go into the name of the Machshava. I'm just going to tell you which one it is. Every time you put a thought into your action, right away, this name comes in play. And this is a name Kodesh, like, because it's so high. It comes from no pasuk. That Arizal says. It has no source in any pasuk. But when it comes out, holy, the light, you can take a person, if you know how to use it and to voilize it, to which voil to put, because, you know, in the Shem Hashem, we can, according to the voilization, we give it different powers of what we're going to do. If a person, let's say someone goes to court and needs the judge to go into his favor, if he knows, and it's brought down by Indaria Kodesh, not even into Kabbalah Masis, it's not the sorcery, whatever. No, this is the normal learning Kabbalah. With the voiles you put in there, you control the mind of the judge. It's a tremendous, the same way you put insight into your mitzvahs, you're getting insight into your, you're getting control of the thoughts of others. I'm going to finish on this. And I'm going to give you two insights for the mitzvahs of Purim and be done, because it's too important. Purim, look at the Targum yourself. On by Laila Hahu Nadeda Shenas HaMelech, he couldn't sleep that night. Who didn't sleep that night? What happened? Usually, Onkelos translates the pasuk. Here, for some reason, he gives you huge stories. I wanted to tell you these stories, but I'm out of time. So Purim equals 336. Equals Nes. And now we're going to open the Nes. Nes is 110, right? But we're going to open it up. Nun, Samech. Altogether equal 336. There's an infinite numbers of Nisim in Purim. The main one being Haman tried to exterminate the Jews, and at the end of the day, like the Midrash brought down, Paro Hikri, when the Bnei Israel were stuck by the Yam Suf, the Midrash asked, what he means Hikri? He approached. He got them closer to. Hikriv is a lotion of a korban. Says the Kodesh Kodashim, the Bris Kehunas Oilam, when it says in the Pasuk on top, in one time, Tzorer Kol HaYehudim, he was, where's the second time? Tzorer HaYehudim, no, it was in the Pasuk before. And one time it says Tzorer HaYehudim. It says Tzorer, it's like Tehein Nafsho, it's a rura, B'tzrach Rachaim. It should be enclosed, it should be encased in life. Because of Haman, we were able to receive the Torah again. Because Tzorer Kol HaYehudim equals Haman ben Hamedasa Ha'agagi. These words that follow each other, you see the trick in the pasuk, right? One after another. Haman, I don't remember the number by heart. No, that's 620. Where is the pasuk? That he wanted the keser, because I wrote it at the end. Oh, no. Sorry. It's the pasuk after it says V'kibel HaYehudim, that they received the Yehudim equals, here it is here. I'm going to write it for you. That they received the Torah. It's also equals to Tzorer Kol HaYehudim with the Korel. I'm sorry. I'm standing by what I said. I just realized in the gematrias. This equals 620. This equals 619 with the Korel. According to it's exactly the same thing. So, and V'kibel HaYehudim es, and who made them receive the Torah? V'kibel. It doesn't say V'kiblu. V'kibel HaYehudim es, which is S, the Torah including, equals 619. HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned everything around. Haman ben Hamedasa Ha'agagi is the one that made us come close to the Torah. Jeff, I know I owe you one big one, and I'll make up for this one, and you're going to get the page over there, and I explain you the goyral and what it means, this word goyral, why the goyral. But I think here I'm explaining how things fell back on the head of themselves. So we see the Rosho, he was hanged, but he wanted to tap into the Ketores. Because Tzorer Kol HaYehudim equals 620, like the Keser. Who goes to the Keser? The smoke, the Oshan. That we learned. And what happened? It turned around. Him and his children hang, the 11, Tafka 11, because to show that he wanted to tap in the power of the Ketores. Now that you understand, Purim is all about thoughts. No matter what you do, no matter what mitzvah you're doing during Purim, so a person should do mitzvahs non-stop. Matanos la'evyonim, there's a big machloikes if it's because of the part of tzedakah that it is, or it's because of the simcha you bring to the ani, like the Ramban says, that this is the mitzvah in Purim. So if you give money and with a nasty face, you know it's a mitzvah because you don't bring. In contrary, you get punished because you made him sad. And it is a mitzvah to get the simcha on Purim. You should try to work on that mitzvah and put some thought that it's always Purim, the nes. The nes within the nes, and everyone needs nisim in his life. And this is where to take this nisim and this tremendous light that started shining already from the night during the Kriyas HaMegillah. So instead of being stupid during the time of reading the Megillah, a person should think Megillah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is revealing himself at that moment. This is the most important times of Purim. This is where I want to tap in. This simple machshava will get that name to work and bring you down all the light you need and all the nisim you need. That's one. The second thing that you have to know, when you eat, there's a mitzvah to eat. Achila, we ate from the Eitz Hadas, equals 65, equals Ale Dalet Nun Yud. You're doing a tikkun in the Shechina. You're not eating to get fat. You're not eating to do this. You're eating to do a tikkun in the Shechina. And we're going to drink. Shesiya here equals with the koilot. 715 plus 1, 716 equals nachash. That's why the mitzvah of the day is with the shtiya, to drink. That's why she brought them in mishte hayayin, because with mishte hayayin she wanted to beat both serpent and decapitate them. Once we drink, and we should drink with simcha, because remember, simcha equals 353. How many days in a lunar calendar? Shana, like the year, 355. Purim is already a day of Simcha. Yom Kippur, which is like Purim, is a day of Simcha. We have a kapara. We have 353 days left. The Simcha you're going to have the entire year depends on the Simcha you're thinking of taking on Purim. Your happiness of the year depends on Purim, how you accomplish Purim, how you beat the Nachash on Purim, how you mesaken the Shechina on Purim, how you bring the power of Nisim on Purim. This is what you're achieving in Purim. And Matanas Le'Evyonim, when you give Simcha to someone else, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will reward you with tens of times of Simcha. It's a much bigger, rather than outspending yourself into Shalachmanes, it's a bigger mitzvah to do more Matanas Le'Evyonim. Yes, we have duties toward friends and families and everything, but with no excess. Yes, there is a mitzvah in sending Shalachmanes, but it should be controlled and limited. However, the Matanas Le'Evyonim has no limit. No limit. And it should be done. Now we understand a little bit the Purim we need to have in order to tap in the light from the Chochmah, from the Shemen, from the Menorah, the real source light. The Ktores go to the Menorah and pull the light. Now, in Purim, we are above this 11. We are into the light that comes down to the Menorah. And whatever light you are taking on Purim, no one can take it away. And this light is so shining. It's the light, the Oira Ganus, removes problems, sickness, witchcraft, name it. No one can stand before this light. And this is the light you have to think of taking, and not enough. Work on yourself. Do not get drunk, please. Chayav Adam lebasume. All the Sfarim in Kabbalah say, what's lebasume? To be boisem. You know, when you're uplifted, you have drunk enough. Don't drink alcohol, drink wine. Yeah, the tikkun is in yain. You're drinking wine, so automatically you uplifted a little bit. Not you have not lost control. You're full control. But you know, you lost the bottom part a little bit. You know, you're a bit fluffy in the legs, but not in the head. Because you have to keep the machshava going, so you have the name of the machshava helping you for tapping more and more from Purim. Amen ve'amen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pa.
You're welcome. Now you have work, Jaime, for Purim.
Oh, yeah.